finally making a video about a couple of books that I finished. I had made a video recently about a book I was currently reading, which was Study for Obedience by Sarah Bernstein. And I read a few passages from it. I was about 100 pages in when I made it. Just kind of trying to do one of these live and see how I felt at the halfway point and then come back to it and see how I felt when I was done. But I ended up getting a little carried away and actually read Sarah Bernstein's other book too, The Coming Bad Days. So I'm going to talk about both of them. I remember about the halfway point of Study for Obedience. I remember saying it's written in a style that I don't typically love. It reminds me a lot of Virginia Woolf, her book To the Lighthouse and The Waves, where we have these kind of esoteric passages, honestly. They read like koans at times where you can tell it's saying something, but it's not immediately obvious what it is. You have to do kind of a lot of work to follow along. It is at times like reading a piece of kind of difficult philosophy, maybe, where things get lost in the structure of the sentences, page-long paragraphs. And yeah, it can make reading. I would imagine if you read this book kind of just, willy-nilly, or like a bedtime book, or you didn't give it quite so much attention, you're gonna like it a lot less than if you really sat down and took your time and read slowly and intentionally and paused when you needed to pause. I filled up maybe like 8 or 9 pages of my notebook with vocab words from this read. It is certainly in the camp of an intellectual read. I don't know if that means you have to be interested in books like that to enjoy it, because I'm typically not really. I really don't love a lot of that kind of super internal philosophical musing stuff, but I still enjoyed reading this book. When I reviewed it, I wrote up a little review on my Goodreads of it, and I said that it sits firmly in the camp of books I admire and not books that I love. So you can tell, obviously, that Sarah Bernstein is a very talented writer. There's so much care and craft in the line-to-line writing. It's almost like you can imagine the writing process was like writing a poem, right? When you write a poem, you pay so much attention to each individual word because each individual word matters so much. And honestly, these passages read like Sarah Bernstein did that. She wrote it. It reads like she wrote one sentence and then spent 5 minutes making sure everything was in the exact right place. And it's beautiful to read when it works. It just doesn't have a lot of the things I love in books. The pace is pretty steady throughout, which is to say it doesn't really pick up almost ever. It's one of those stories in which almost nothing really happens. It's just a little bit of an emotional journey of growth and reflection. And I love stories like that. One of my favorite movies is the movie Perfect Days, which is a story in which almost nothing happens. But I find those moments really beautiful to be able to tell a compelling story out of. And there's no doubt that the book is compelling. It's not a book I would really recommend unless I knew someone who loved that kind of genre, that kind of close reading, esoteric genre. That being said, after I read it, I did want to read her other work, because I found it like it was hard for me to read, and it was a challenging read. And those can often, if at the right time, really hit. They're kind of really fun when you're looking for that. I had just read a bunch of really easy short stories and was having a good time. I was farming dopamine hits over and over, and so it felt good really to slow down and commit really hard to a book. And so I got her other book. This book is her first one that came out. It's called The Coming Bad Days. And thematically, it's pretty similar. She definitely has topics that she loves, and a lot of it is this internal exploration. This one deals a lot more with the world at large. There's a definite existential angst about the world, the people in it, the environment, its degradation, the relationship between men and women. It's definitely very biased against men in a big way, but without feeling like unfair or preachy. I think it's very true to the character in a way that's really compelling. And this book, Study for Obedience, is very internal and very self-driven. It's just the narrator talking about her life, and so it's very singular. This book explores a few more relationships and their dynamics, and I think Sarah Bernstein crushes. The relationship between the main character and her best friend is really compelling. I really loved it. This book does not sit in the same category as Study for Obedience. This is actually a book I love. I really, really enjoyed this book. It's formatted in like this kind of style. So there are sections, I guess, that are like in place of chapters. It's probably like 6 or 7 sections. So like here's like 2, part 2. And then each section has multiple scenes, and they're usually 1 or 2 pages long. So here's 1, 2, here's the next part, 1, 2, 3. This one's just 1 page, and they're really short. So it's like scene by scene. It's almost like the way a screenplay might be laid out. And I'm so obsessed with this kind of structure. All of my favorite books, my top 3 favorite books, Play It As It Lays by Joan Didion, Speedboat by Renata Adler, and Bluets by Maggie Nelson, all share this structure. Really short scenes, really quick pace. It feels good to read. You are being tugged by the author along. You almost can't fight it. It's so great. The pace is phenomenal, and each scene reads, so well. It's so interesting, the process of piecing when you tell a story scene by scene like this. It's so fun as a reader because you get to kind of piece it all together and see how it melds, because you can have a scene where, the character in this book is a professor, where she's in her office eating lunch, and then the next scene she's at the cinema, and there's this notion of, in creative writing, when you get from point A to point B, there's this concept of collapsing time. What you are not showing is the in-between, right? Going from the office back to her house, changing, going to the cinema. Instead, it's just, we're at the office, we're at the cinema, we're home now, we're back at the office. And it just, which lends this pace, but it also, for you, the reader, you get to kind of fill in this person's life. And so it has this beautiful experience of really integrating yourself in this story. I read almost the entire book in a sitting on the train back from, I bought it in London and had a 6-hour train back to Scotland, and read almost the whole thing on the train. I took a few breaks and I read some poems and I did some writing as well. So I didn't finish it all the way, but my God, I just could have read it forever. It's so compelling. And it's thematically the same, I think, and tonally similar. It's just the writing style is completely different. If I took the names off of both of these books, I would not guess for 1 second they were the same writer, honestly. This feels just like a story she had to tell. This feels like she wanted to make a piece of art. I don't know if that makes sense to other people in the way it does in my head, but yeah, if this book exists in the category of books I admire, this book exists in books that I love. It's definitely in my top 3 or 4 I've read this year, and I've read a lot of books this year. This is a book I would recommend to almost anyone. I'm obviously super biased because it's structured in the way that I love, but hey, this is my YouTube channel. So of course I'm going to be biased, but yeah, for anyone interested, these are her only 2 books out. So I love this. Whenever I find an author that I'm interested in, I like reading a lot of their work, or trying to read as much of their work as possible. I've been doing that recently with Dennis Johnson. But yeah, so you can read all of her work, all of her books. There's only 2 of them. And this book came out in 2023. I think this one in 2021. I actually can't remember. But yeah, so hopefully she's going to have something come out again soon. If you're interested, I recommend both of them. This one, I think most people should read. If you like anything adjacent to Virginia Woolf, you will really like this. But yeah, that's Sarah Bernstein. It feels cool to kind of have like everything an author's done. I mean, it's only 2 books. It's nothing crazy. But have it all under your belt. So yeah, Sarah Bernstein, Study for Obedience. Sarah Bernstein, The Coming Bad Days. Thank you so much for watching. This is a little bit of a long one because it was covering 2 books. But yeah, if you watch to the end, I really appreciate you.